Well, alright, everybody, so we are back with TEW 9, the War of the Immortals save. We are here with the WWF Classics running WWFC Primetime Wrestling. So let's take a look at last week's show, where we had the Foreign Legion of the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov come in for the night and take on the Killer Bees in our pre-show. Then we had Tony Schiavone and Bobby Heenan running down the card for the matches for everybody to expect for the night. We had Haku advance to the semifinals of the King of the Ring, defeating Genichiro Tenryu. We had Jerry Lawler tell Andre the Giant that he's going to step up and send him packing back out of the WWF. We had the Fabulous Freebirds to defeat Don Morocco and Craig Valentine. And was going to 77, which isn't that bad. And then we had Hulk Hogan talk about the main event where he was going to defeat Sid in the main event to go on and face Roddy Piper at King of the Ring, which is in a couple of days. And then we had Bam Bam Bigelow defeat Tito Santana. We had Arn and Tully run down the Freebirds. Then we had Arn and Tully defeat the Fantastics for an amazing 82, considering the Fantastics aren't that over. We had Jim Cornette and the Midnight Express mock the whole tag team division, saying there isn't anybody here that can even touch us. And we had Demolition defeat Cowboy Bob and Don Morocco for a lovely 73, too. Then we had Rick Martel talk about how he is going to be the king of the ring. We Then we had Rick Martel advance as well to the semifinals by beating the Texas Tornado, which got an 84. And then we had Bobby Heenan and Barry Windham hold an open challenge for anybody to come out and face Barry for the U.S. title tonight. And then we had Barry Windham defeat Bob Backlund and retain his WWFC United States title. We had Roddy Piper talk about the main event, who he wants to see win the match. Then, unfortunately, in the main event, we had Hulk Hogan and Sid go to a double disqualification. So there wasn't a decisive winner in the main event. So, tonight, we will see how everything is going to shake up. So, I will be right back, and I am going to book the show. The show all booked up, and let's jump into it with our first pre-show match. In a decent pre-show match, Tito Santana defeated Big John Studd in 12-12 by submission with his figure 4 leg lock. So the crowd heat is expected and simmering. The wrestling rating is a 58. The crowd rating is a 55. The segment got a 62. Big John Studd had a 53. Tito Santana had a 63. The commentary quality lifted the match. The color commentary gave it a boost. So I really didn't have much for Tito to do, so I thought I would give him a match against Big John Studd, which, I mean, it's not blowing scores out of the water, but hey, it is what it is. So let's head on to our opening match of Tony, or segment of Tony and Bobby running down tonight's card. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another electrifying edition of Primetime Wrestling. We are just 4 days away from King of the Ring, and tonight we're bringing you one of the biggest lineups in WWFC history. You're not kidding, Schiavone. We got a blockbuster main event. We've got King of the Ring semifinals. We got an 8-man tag action, and we got the Great Muta in action. I tell you, if you're not watching tonight, you might as well be living under a rock. Let's start with the semifinals of the King of the Ring tonight. It's going to be Haku versus Rick Martel. These two warriors have fought their way through some of the best competitors in the WWFC, and now only one man will advance to the finals at King of the Ring. Oh, Schiavone, this is an easy one. Haku is the toughest man in this business. He's got power, he's got skill, and most importantly, he's got Bobby Heenan in his corner. You think some pretty boy like Martel is going to stand a chance? Please. Also, tonight, the Great Muta, under the guidance of James Mitchell, will go one-on-one with Genichiro Tenryu. Muta has been nothing but short of dominant since arriving in the WWFC, but tonight, he faces Japan's greatest warrior. Can Tenryu be the one to slow down the unstoppable Muta? Tenryu slow down Muta? Are you insane, Shivani? The Great Muta is the most dominant man in professional wrestling. That mist, the speed, that precision, Tenru might not even make it out of the arena. And talk about chaos. Tonight, we have a huge 8-man tag. The New Horsemen, Arn and Tully teaming up with the Midnight Express to take on the Freebirds and the Fantastics. Oh, this is going to be great. We got 4 of the greatest teams in the world in one match. The New Horsemen, unstoppable. The Midnight Express, wrestling royalty. And those Freebirds and Fantastics, they're about to find out what happens when you mess with the best. But the biggest match of the night, our main event, is a massive 8-man tag team battle. It's going to be Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper, Andre, and Harley Race taking on Sid, Barry Windham, Bam Bam Bigelow, and Jerry the King Lawler. This is absolute madness, Shivani. You got Hogan and Piper who can't stand each other. You got Sid, who is looking to make a statement. You got Barry Windham, who is proving why he's the greatest U.S. champion of all time. And Bam Bam and Lawler. Oh, they're just ready to cause destruction. The road to King of the Ring is heating up, and tonight, we might just have some major fireworks before we even get there, fans. You don't want to miss a second of this action. That's right, so grab your popcorn, tell your grandma to go to bed, and get ready for the greatest night in wrestling. So, the crowd is hot and rising. The segment got a 97. It advanced all of our storylines. Bobby Heenan benefited from having a hot catchphrase. The angle got the crowd hotter, and it got the show off to a strong start. So, let's head to our first match. In a bout that had decent reaction from the crowd in subpar wrestling, Greg the Hammer Valentine defeated George the Animal Steel in 8:09 by pinfall with a hit with guitar. Okay. Greg Valentine makes defense number 1 of his $1 million title. The crowd is hot. The wrestling rating is a 54. The crowd rating is a 60. The segment got a 62. Greg Valentine had a 58. George Steele had a 51. And it advanced the Valentine Ronnie Garvin Steele storyline. The commentary quality lifted it. The color commentary gave it a boost, and George Steele is getting better at his gimmick, so that's pretty good. So let's head to our next segment. Well, here we are. Another night, another main event, another match where my men, the greatest tag team in the history of professional wrestling, the Midnight Express, get to prove why they run this division. And tonight we team up with the best of the best, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, the New Horsemen. 4 men, 1 mission to humiliate and annihilate the Freebirds and the Fantastics. Cornette, you hit the nail right on the head. Hayes, Gordy, Rogers, Fulton. You boys like to think you're something special, huh? You like to run around, play your little rock and roll games, pretend like you're at the top of the world. Well, let me tell you something. We are professional wrestling. We are the men that make this business what it is. And we don't take kindly to a couple of showboats thinking they can share our spotlight. That's exactly right, Tully. Fantastics, Freebirds, let's get one thing straight. You are in over your heads. You might think you're a couple of tough guys. You might think you're fast. You might think you're clever. But what you don't realize is that when you step into the ring with the Horsemen and the Midnight Express, you're stepping into the deep end, and neither one of you can swim. We are ruthless. We are calculated. And when we step into that ring tonight, we're going to teach you a painful lesson in wrestling. Oh, you hear that? That's the truth, baby. Listen, Freebirds. I know you boys like to talk, you like to fight, and you like to party, but tonight the party ends in the Fantastics. Oh, don't even get me started. You boys might be fan favorites, but favorites don't win titles. Favorites don't win money. And favorites sure as the hell don't win against us. Fantastics, we've beaten you before, and tonight ain't gonna be any different. In Freebirds, we don't care how long you've been around, because we're the future of wrestling. and you're just another team standing in our way. Tonight, gentlemen, we send a message. We send a message to every tag team in the WWFC that we are the standard. So lace up your boots tight, because when the bell rings, the only thing you'll be thinking about is how much you regret stepping into the ring with us. Freebirds, Fantastics, tonight you find out exactly why we are the best in the world. And when it's over, you'll be left broken, beaten, and wondering why you ever thought you could compete with the elite. See you out there, boys. So the crowd heat at the end is white hot. The segment got a 74. It advanced the Midnight Demolition storyline and the Horseman and the Freebird storyline. The color commentary gave it a boost. Jim Cornette benefited from having a hot catchphrase, and the angle got the crowd hotter. So let's head to our next match. In a decent match, Ken Patera defeated Bad News Brown at 9:43 by pinfall. The crowd heat at the end is very hot. The wrestling rating is a 57. The crowd rating is a 54. The segment got a 64. Ken Patera had a 58. Bad News Brown had a 57, and Ken Patera seemed off his game. The commentary quality lifted the match, and the color commentary gave it a boost as well. So I didn't have anything for either of these two, so I thought, why not just give them a match against each other and see how well it turned out. It wasn't too bad. So let's head to the next segment. I told you all. I told every single one of you humanoids that Barry Windham was going to dominate as the WWFC United States Champion, and what happened? He did just that week after week, challenger after challenger, and not a single man has been able to take this title from him. And you know why? Because Barry Windham isn't just a champion, he is the champion. He is the greatest United States champion this company will ever see. There's nobody on Superstars, nobody on Primetime, and nobody in that locker room who stands a chance against him. That's right, Brain. Everybody keeps stepping up, thinking they got what it takes to knock me off my throne. But the fact is, I'm just better. I hit harder, I move faster, and I outsmart every single fool that tries to take this title from me. So to anyone still thinking about coming after me, do yourself a favor. Don't. Because if you do, I'll put you down just like all the rest. This title, it's mine, and it's staying right here for a long, long time. You heard the man. The challenge is open, but the result is always the same. Barry Windham wins, and the rest of you, well, you lose. And nobody gets this man a real challenge, if there's even one. So the crowd heat is very hot. The segment got an 84 to advance the Barry Windham Texas Tornado storyline. Bobby Heenan improvised well throughout the segment, and he benefited from having a hot catchphrase. So let's head to our next match. In a bout that had a decent reaction from the crowd in subpar wrestling, the Texas Tornado defeated Don Morocco in 9:55 by pinfall. The crowd heat is very hot. The wrestling rating is a 54. The crowd rating is a 56. And the segment got a 65. The Texas Tornado had a 62. Don Morocco had a 45. They don't have any chemistry, and it made for an awkward bout. The commentary quality lifted it, and the color commentary gave it a boost. So, I mean, it's just a match to get the Texas Tornado back on TV. And, get him a win after losing in the King of the Ring. So, let's head to the next segment here. Jerry Lawler, you talk too much. You say you want to teach me a lesson. You say you are going to step up to Andre the Giant. Lawler, you have bitten off more than you could chew. You are not facing any man, just any man. You are stepping into the ring with a giant, a man who has crushed legends, a man who has destroyed champions, and in 4 days at King of the Ring, you will find out what happens when you challenge someone you can't beat. Lawler, I do not play games. When I step into that ring, I end careers. You will find out firsthand what it means to feel true power. You wanted this fight, and now you are going to regret it. So the crowd heat is very hot. The wrestling rating got a 92. And it advanced the Andre the Giant versus Jerry Lawler storyline. So let's head to our next segment. In a decent match, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard in the Midnight Express defeated the Fantastics and the Fabulous Freebirds in 12:26 when Bobby Eaton pinned Tommy Rogers with a flapjack. In terms of ring work, Arn Anderson was head and shoulders above everybody else. The crowd heat is very hot. The wrestling rating got a 70, the crowd rating got a 61, and the segment got an 83. Stan Lane had a 57. Bobby Eaton had an 81. Tully Blanchard had a 75. Arn Anderson had a 93. Terry Gordy had an 81. Michael Hayes had a 64. Tommy Rogers had a 52, and Bobby Fulton had a 58. It also advanced our Midnight Express, Demolition storyline, and the Horsemen versus the Freebirds storyline. Jimmy Hart did good work at ringside. Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane had good chemistry with Jim Cornette. The match got the crowd buzzing, and the performance of Arn Anderson stood out as being good. So that's fantastic. So let's head off to our next segment here. All right, settle down, you two. I called you both out here because this thing between you two is getting out of hand. We need to figure out what's going to happen at King of the Ring. There's nothing to figure out, Euchre. I beat Hogan. I earned my title shot at the WWFC Championship, and I am the rightful #1 contender. Piper is mine, and nothing is going to stop me. Oh, you want to talk about earning things, brother? The Hulkster has been earning title shots his whole career, and at King of the Ring, all the Hulkamaniacs out there know that this should be me going one-on-one with Hot Rod for the gold. You had your time, Hogan. You're looking at the future. I'm bigger, I'm badder, and I'm going to crush you if you don't step aside. Enough. You both make good points, and you both have a case for facing Piper for the WWFC Championship at King of the Ring. So I'll tell you what. Since neither of you can seem to step aside, and since the fans want to see the biggest match possible, on June 16th at King of the Ring, it's going to be Roddy Piper defending the WWFC Championship against both of you. Triple threat, huh? That's just fine by me, brother. Because I'll run wild on both of you, and then I'll walk out of King of the Ring as the new WWFC champion. You're a dead man, Hogan, and you and Piper, this is my time, and I will leave King of the Ring as the most dominant champion of all time. So the crowd heat is very hot. The segment got an 83. It advanced the triple threat storyline. Bob Uecker was very underwhelming. And Hulk Hogan came out looking excellent. So let's head off to our next segment here. I didn't expect much from this one, honestly. In a poor match, Demolition defeated Well Done in 11:41 when Demolition Axe pinned Timothy Well with the Demolition decapitation. In terms of ring work, Axe was head and shoulders above everybody else. The crowd heat is very hot. The wrestling rating got a 52. The crowd rating got a 43. The segment got a 66. Demolition Smash got a 56. Demolition Axe got a 75. Timothy Well did a 36. Steve Dunn did a 42. It advanced the Midnight and the Demolition storyline. Axe and Smash both have excellent chemistry. The commentary quality lifted the match. The color commentary gave it a boost, and Demolition Axe looked good out there. So let's head to the next segment. Ladies and gentlemen, feast your eyes on the man who is going to steamroll his way to the King of the Ring. You see, everybody's been talking about this tournament like it's some kind of big mystery on who's going to win, who's got what it takes. Let me clear things up for you all. This man right here, Haku, is your King of the Ring. Let's talk about facts, shall we? Haku didn't just win his way into the semifinals, he dominated. He ran through the competition like a bulldozer, leaving broken bodies in his wake. And tonight, right here on Primetime Wrestling, Rick Martel, oh, the pretty boy, the so-called model, he's going to find out that looks don't win fights, pal. Rick Martel might think he's got the momentum. He might think he's got the moves. But what he's got is a one-way ticket to a beating. You don't step into the ring with Haku and walk out the same. If you even walk out at all, Martel, let me give you a little preview of your future. You're going to get chopped. You're going to get kicked. And if Haku feels like it, he might just snap the little neck of yours before he moves on to the finals of the King of the Ring. And once Haku beats Martel, oh, and trust me, he will. It doesn't matter who's left standing in the finals, whether it's Paul Orndorff or Kenta Kobayashi, not Ken Patera. It doesn't matter because the end result is the same. Haku will stand tall as the King of the Ring, and then, well, maybe just go after a little bit of gold next, huh? So the crowd heat is very hot. The segment got a 92. It advanced the King of the Ring story. Bobby Heenan looked good. He clearly had the freedom of going off script, and he benefited from having a hot catchphrase. So, let's head to the next match. In a decent match, Rick Martel defeated Haku in 15:05 by submission with his Boston Crab. The match was a part of the King of the Ring tournament. The crowd heat is very hot. The wrestling rating got a 71, the crowd rating got a 66, and the segment got an 80. So Rick Martel had a 76, Haku had a 66, and it advanced the King of the Ring storyline. So now we will see Rick Martel in the finals of the King of the Ring. So let's head to the next segment. I didn't expect much from this one. It's never very good. Ladies and gentlemen of Primetime Wrestling, allow me to introduce you to your worst nightmare. You see, for far too long, this company has been filled with men who talk big, who puff out their chests, who strut around if they are untouchable. But I assure you, they're not. Standing beside me is not just a man. He is destruction incarnate. He is a storm, an unstoppable force, a shadow of doom that will consume anyone foolish enough to stand in his way. This is the Great Muta. He is here to dominate. Now, I know what some of you simple-minded fools are thinking. Oh, I've seen tough guys before. I've seen the Road Warriors, I've seen Hogan, I've seen Piper, and I've seen the Horsemen. But none of them, not a single one, has ever witnessed a force like this. A man who strikes with the simple speed of a viper, who moves with the grace of a phantom, and who destroys with the power of a monster. And let me make something crystal clear. This is not a game. This is not a sideshow act. This is real. The Great Muta is not here to entertain. He is here to eradicate, one by one, every so-called superstar, every so-called champion, and every so-called legend will fall at his feet. And the ones who refuse to believe, well, they won't have a choice when they're gasping for breath, looking up at the lights, knowing they made the biggest mistake of their lives. That mist is the last thing many will ever see before their world fades to black. And so consider this your first and final warning, Primetime Wrestling. Step in the Great Muta's path, and you won't just lose the match. You will lose everything. So the crowd heat's very hot. The segment got a 65. Now the Great Muta looked good. The commentary quality lifted the segment, and the color commentary gave it a boost as well. So let's head to the Great Muta's match. Of course. In a bout that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, the Great Muta defeated Genichiro Tenryu in 10:59 by pinfall. The crowd heat at the end is very hot. The wrestling rating got a 78. The crowd got a 67. The segment got a 66. Muda had an 86. Tenryu had a 69. The Great Muda and Tenryu have good chemistry. It shows in their performances. Well, that's fantastic. The match suffered due to its booking. There simply wasn't enough time for the workers to create a spectacle. So I should have gave them more time. The Great Muda and James Mitchell are a good pairing, and they play off each other well. The match needed more time in order to achieve the aim it was designed for, and the match got the crowd buzzing. Yay, they're buzzing. Okay, so now I know for next time if I do a spectacle with these two, I got to give them more than 11 minutes. So that will be fantastic. So let's head to the next segment. All right. Let's talk about the big old elephant in the room, shall we? You see, I've heard the big announcement. I heard the bombshell that Bob Uecker dropped on the world tonight. Oh, yeah. King of the Ring, June 16th. It ain't just Hogan coming for this here championship, and it ain't just Sid Vicious looking to crack my skull open. It's both of them. Now, I could stand here and scream. I could stand here and throw a fit like a spoiled brat, but nah. Hot Rod ain't built like that. See, what Bob Uecker did, that just made me even more dangerous because now at King of the Ring, I don't just gotta watch out for one man. I gotta watch out for two of the biggest egos in this business has ever seen. And boys, let me tell you, I don't give a damn who you are, Hogan, Sid, the Pope, Santa Claus, or the Boogeyman himself. I am not walking out of King of the Ring without this WWFC championship. But before we even get to King of the Ring, we got a fight on our hands tonight. Yeah, I got myself one hell of a team. The legendary Harley Race, the unstoppable Andre the Giant, and yeah, whether we like it or not, even the Hulkster himself is going to be standing in our corner. And across from us, we got that big angry goofball Sid. We got the so-called greatest U.S. champion Barry Windham. We got Bam Bam Bigelow. And on top of it, we got the king of Memphis himself, Jerry Lawler. Hey, Lawler, I see you strutting around here like you own the place, running that mouth, talking about how you're going to take over primetime. Well, let me tell you something, pal. Tonight, you get thrown into the deep end, and there ain't no crown, there ain't no castle, and there ain't no kingdom that's going to save you when the hot rod gets his hands on you. Oh, and Sid, you want to be the man? You want to prove that you should be the only one getting a title shot? Well, big boy, tonight's your chance to make a statement. But let me give you a warning. You can come for me. You better not miss, because if I get the meanest fists in the game, and I promise you, I won't miss you. Tonight, primetime wrestling ain't gonna be about catchphrases. It ain't gonna be about posing, and it sure as the hell ain't gonna be about running your mouths. It's gonna be about four men standing tall and four men lying in the dirt. And when it's all said and done, when that final bell rings, I guarantee you, it won't be the hot rod on his back. So the crowd heat is very hot. The wrestling rating got a 92. The segment got a 92. It advanced the triple threat, and apparently the king of the ring. I must have did that wrong. Piper clearly enjoyed having the freedom to go off script and performed well. And he benefited from having a hot catchphrase. So let's head to our main event. Not bad. In a superb match, Andre the Giant, Harley Race, and Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper defeated Sid, Bam Bam, Barry Windham, and Jerry Lawler in 12:58 when Piper pinned Sid Vicious. The crowd heat's very hot. The wrestling rating got a 81. The crowd rating got a 79. The segment got an 88. Roddy Piper had a 92. Hulk Hogan had a 91. Harley Race had a 84. Andre had a 70. Jerry Lawler had a 70. Barry Windham had an 82. Bam Bam had a 69. Sid Vicious had an 86. It advanced the triple threat storyline. Barry and Texas Tornado, Harley and Bam Bam, Andre and Jerry Lawler The story, the creative finish was a success. Hogan seemed off his game, and Hogan is getting better at his gimmick. So let's finish off our show tonight. We gained eight. We gained popularity in 8 regions. We would have gained one in Canada, but we were restricted to the growth. Well, let's finish everything off. The financial report, we made $1 million. The recap, we went up 1 in Hawaii and 1 in British Columbia. And that is everything for this episode. So I will see you in the next one.